I've been learning about human design since September of last year, and in the last few months, I've become somewhat of an astrology girly. Here's how I'm using both to increase balance and structure and get my life the hell together. I made myself a pre-productivity routine that always starts with music because I am both a musician and a music lover, and music just really helps to boost my mood and give me positive emotions to carry me through the entire day. The next step is to get rid of all of that tension that I built up in my body overnight with my foam roller and my lacrosse ball. Like most people, if I'm too stressed, I can't work properly, but I had to remember that I'm a very physical being. I carry all of my stress in my back, my neck, and my shoulders, and I knew this already, but because I didn't think I was stressed, meaning there wasn't a whole lot of stress in my head, I assumed that I wasn't, and it's because I kept forgetting that all of it was in my body. So I have to get rid of all of that tension first, and then I can focus on whatever it is I need to do. And as you can see here, I'm already exhausted. So fun fact about lacrosse balls, I actually found out a couple either weeks or months ago from a PT that if you're hypermobile, your method of relieving stress and pain in your muscles is not going to be through stretching like everybody else. It's actually going to be through immense pressure. So I started trying this out with my lacrosse ball that I got from my PT a couple of I think years ago at this point, and it's made a serious difference in relieving the stress from my muscles. So next order of business is checking in with my emotions and making sure that my defined solar plexus understands that it is involved in this entire process of productivity. And this is an app called How We Feel. I found it on the App Store a couple of weeks ago and I've been using it almost obsessively. I will check in with this app multiple times a day. My favorite thing about it, first of all, is that it's completely free, but it gives you a bunch of different words that you can use to describe your emotions in the most accurate way possible. And I've been using the analytics to kind of navigate different days and figure out like, okay, what things might be causing me problems, what things might be benefiting me. And it's just been really helpful. Like I just feel more motivated to do things just by checking in with my emotions. It's kind of crazy, but it's because of my defined solar plexus. So my next order of business is to cultivate my writing habit. This could either be with writing content for my Substack, which is available now. It is $5.99 per month, but there are free posts as well. This could either be for journaling, which I don't do very often because I feel like I get most of my emotions out using that emotion tracker that I told you all about. But if I have something more to write, then I will actually write it down. Or I could be writing for content, so like writing scripts, drafting them, editing them, moving them around, stuff like that. And by this point, I'm more so actually doing work and being productive rather than getting ready for productivity. But the reason why this is my pre-productivity routine is because I tend to view productivity more so through the lens of me doing my schoolwork. Because yes, while content creation is my job and it's the career I'm working towards, and it does require me to be productive, and productivity related to content creation absolutely does count. I enjoy doing content creation so much that I kind of forget that it's working, whereas school, it's like, that's always going to be school, right? That's never going to change. I don't have to work as hard to build up my motivation to do content creation the way I do with school, so it's like a different level of productivity for me. So what I'm doing here is just taking some of the stuff that I've written in my notes app and turning it into scripts for content that I can make, and I'm putting it in my Notion because that's where all of my content creation stuff lives. Notes is where I put stuff when I just have something that I need to get out of my head and onto paper so it doesn't fizzle away, and then later I go back in and I go through the notes and I put everything into Notion. I'm kind of annoyed at how long it took me to realize this, but sometimes my difficulty getting started is because my mind's generated too many ideas, and because I haven't done anything with them, they're just sitting in my head and I'm too distracted by them to get anything done, even though they're not at the forefront of my mind. So doing this gets them out of my head, and getting them out of the way gives me way more mental clarity. So this is kind of my aligned version of a brain dump. So by this time it's around 2 p.m. and between 2 to 5 p.m. I always close the blinds in my room a little bit because not only am I autistic and very sensitive to light, but I also have indirect light determination in human design. So too much light in my room during this time not only makes me sleepy, but it also overwhelms my senses and just makes it a little bit harder to focus on stuff. I do also have a human design narrow valleys environment, so the best place for me to get my work done is actually downstairs in the kitchen with my AirPods, and I usually have them on noise canceling. But if I don't want to leave my room, I'll just turn on coffee shop sounds from my laptop, and because my desk is right by the window and my house faces north, I can see the street from my window, so it still kind of matches with my environment because I can still kind of see what's going on outside. Now you're about to see my 6th house Pisces South Node come into play in a major way here, because the next thing that is on my list was to check my content calendar for any videos that I could have edited. And because I edit from my hard drive, everything is on there, I have to keep the stuff in my hard drive organized in a good way so that it's easy for me to edit. When there's too many tedious things that I have to go through to get content creation stuff done, I don't get anything done, so I have to remove as many of those hindrances as I can. And because I edit from my hard drive, it has to stay organized. And I realized that when I opened my hard drive, stuff was just everywhere, and it was too much. So instead of actually starting to edit my videos, I had to stop and reorganize my entire hard drive. Now the 6th house in astrology is about daily routines and your work. Your south node is about things that you're moving away from, and also skills and habits you already have. And the sign of Pisces is about creativity and intuition. So I took me having a 6th house Pisces south node to mean that I have to be more creative about how I live my everyday life and how I approach my work, and I have to let my body lead more instead of sticking to rigid systems. Writing helps me process stuff, so when I realized just how much organization I was going to have to do with this hard drive, and that I wanted to be a little bit more creative and express myself a little bit more with how stuff was organized in my hard drive, I just pulled out my trusty handy dandy notepad and started writing away. And then I went through the very painstaking, back-breaking, dare I say mind-numbing, even mind-altering work of moving all of my clips and everything into their new respective homes. So I finished organizing my entire content drive, and I'm so happy that I finally just decided to sit down and do this, because this has been on my to-do list for quite some time, and I just wasn't doing it because I think I was just overcomplicating the entire process. Also, writing things down instead of trying to just like go in guns blazing and do it and work as I go along really helped me a lot. I don't know why I always try to make myself just like go all in when I'm doing something. Even if I try to like type it out in the notes, it's just not the same as writing it. I'm not sure why. But I finished organizing it, and so I wanted to show you guys because I actually think it's super cute. Okay, so these are the main folders that I created. The audios folder and the YouTube folder already existed, but the new ones that I created are the Temple of Apollo, the Drop-Off, and the Department Store. So if you go to the department store, this is where like all of my beauty and fashion and lifestyle content goes. So this is beauty, the beauty edit. This is fashion, who would wear, and then live your life. I'm probably going to change this at some point, but I can't come up with something more creative right now. The drop off is just where like a bunch of my content will go when I just need to get it off of whatever I filmed it on and onto the hard drive, and then I'll just go in and like sort it all later. And then Temple of Apollo, these are all of my content pillars. So pillar, temple, I love Greek mythology, so Apollo. The reason why I chose Apollo is because he's the god of archery, music, dance, healing, the sun and light, and poetry. I'm a dancer and a musician. I used to write poetry when I was in high school. I'm a Leo. And when I was younger, I was obsessed with that movie, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Susan was my favorite like warrior. And I loved that she was like an archer. I'm not sure why I was so drawn to that, but I was. And I always told myself, if I was ever casted in one of those movies where you have to fight like old style with like bows and arrows and swords, I want to be part of the archers. Don't give me the sword, give me the bow and arrow. And I'm in kind of like a decluttering and organizing mood, so I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of that and fix my to-do list on Notion. I've come to the realization that the way that I tend to plan out my days is probably a little bit too rigid for myself, so I'm gonna edit some things on that. It's 7:10. I do need to leave to go to the gym in a little bit. Still haven't edited any videos since I came back to the house. Don't know if that's getting done today, but what needs to get done, whether I want to or not, is I have to finish an assignment from school. The good thing is I already know it's not going to take me that long because I looked at the assignment when I downloaded it. It's not like an essay or anything like that. I just have to fill in some boxes, so that's good. I think I might do that before I go to the gym so that when I come back from the gym, I can just focus on editing. I do have a couple of videos here that I could film. These are the ones that I'm focusing on tackling today. I'm not worried about getting all of them done because it's not really gonna be possible for me to. I just know my energy levels, but I am definitely gonna try and get at least 2 or 3 of these done tonight. So as you can see, I've already checked my content calendar for any videos that I might want to focus on in terms of tackling editing tonight. So now I'm going to go in and check my to-do list. And just like what we saw happened with my content hard drive, as soon as I went in, everything was just too decluttered, and I needed to take care of that before I could actually interact with my content drive the way that I needed to. Same thing happened with my to-do list. Like I just mentioned, everything is kind of set up in a way that's a little bit too rigid for me, so I needed to fix that before I could actually interact with my to-do list. So I changed the way that I kind of prioritize tasks in Notion. I used to have it by date, which would always kind of make me feel bad, even though I know that the dates are not rigid, because then the due date would come and then I wouldn't actually do it. But the reason why I always had a due date was because I didn't know how else to prioritize it. And then I remembered that Notion has a last edited time property and a created time property. In order to have an idea of what I should probably get done today, I filtered the tasks so that the last edited time, so like the last time I did anything to that one specific card relative to today, is within the past month. So it'll encourage me to knock out some of those tasks that have just been sitting in my inbox. And then at some point I'll probably have to edit it so that it's like you could do that, or like created time was X amount of time, because assignments that are due for grad school do not care when I put the card on Notion. It's due when it's due. But to be honest, because I know that assignments are always due on Sunday nights, I probably don't need to put them in my Notion. Hasn't failed me yet, so. Keeping in with the spirit of 6th house Pisces South Node stuff, I do still use pomodoros when I'm working, but I changed the way that I was using them, and I do it a little bit more creatively and intuitively now, because I used to try to track everything, and then I realized I was overvaluing productivity, which I'm supposed to be moving away from. And I forgot which part of my astroHD this is. This is either my Pisces South Node or my Virgo North Node, but now I only use it when I'm editing videos and I'm doing schoolwork, and I don't force myself to finish the timer or the rounds, as you can see at the top of the screen above the timer. When my body's done, I'm done. I don't care about the task. When my body's done, I'm done. But this doesn't hinder me, it doesn't cause me any problems, because I usually get back around to it anyway. Okay, so I finished my assignment, but as you can see, the lights are on. That means it's dark outside. It is currently 9 p.m. and I opted to not go to the gym because I realized I wasn't really feeling like it. And this is something that I've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks. I typically go to the gym in the evenings because it helps me tire myself out so I can go to sleep, because I am a human design generator, so I tend to create a lot of my own energy. And when I don't expend that energy on enough things that I like doing, I have a hard time falling asleep because my body doesn't know what to do with all of the excess energy that it created. So that's why I would normally go in the evenings. Also, when I first ever started going to the gym when I was in university freshman year, I would go in the evenings because I knew I wasn't going to get up in the morning. But then also during freshman year, I had a couple 8 a.m. classes, and so I was like, I'm not getting up any earlier than I need to, and I don't need to be up until like 7:30 to go to these 8 a.m. classes, so I'm not going earlier to go to the gym. So I would go in the evening, and sometimes I would go like an hour or so before the gym actually closed. So like late night gym workouts are definitely a thing for me. That's not new to me. But I'm considering that I may switch to going in the morning instead, because lately as the night gets closer, I find every excuse to not go to the gym. But then in the mornings it's like, I don't want to go to the gym. And you may be thinking, well, what about the afternoons? It's too hot. It is too hot to go to the gym in the afternoons. Like and also it's so many people. There's not as many people in the mornings or in the evenings, which is why I would prefer to go during one of those times. But during the afternoons, oh my goodness, I'm not about to sit there and wait on a matrix machine for an hour. So this is definitely my 6th house Pisces South Node talking, trying to figure out a creative solution for, you know, this daily routine that I have. But I'm happy that I at least got my assignment out of the way and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So now I'm going in and I'm editing some of my videos, and I was actually really successful with my plans for editing. I edited 3 videos out of that list that you guys saw, so I was really proud of myself for that. So while you watch me do that, I wanted to tell you about something that I said earlier when I was talking about my 6th house Pisces South Node. Remember when I said I needed to let my body lead more instead of sticking to rigid systems? That is the key phrase there because it's caused me some trouble the last couple of weeks. So in general astrology, the zodiac wheel goes in the same order as the signs. So Aries rules the first house, Taurus rules the second, Gemini rules the third, and so on. But if your rising sign is an Aries, your order starts from a different sign. I'm a Libra rising, so my second house is ruled by Scorpio, not Taurus, because Scorpio comes after Libra. The days of the week work the same way. Certain planets rule certain days, so you can expect to take advantage of their energies on those days. I used to try to cram everything onto Tuesdays, thinking, well, Mars is the planet of ambition and drive, action, the physical body, so I should do my heaviest workload on Tuesdays, but then I wouldn't get anything done. And then I looked at my analytics for that emotion tracker, how we feel, that I told y'all about. Child, why all of my worst emotions fell on Tuesdays? No wonder I wasn't getting anything done. I have emotional authority in human design, so my emotions have to be at least positive if I'm gonna do anything. And then I remembered an incredibly important detail. I'm a Cancer Mars. That means I have to be emotionally attached to something to move toward it or to act on it, so if my emotions are negative, it may repel me, not motivate me. Well, guess what? Not only is Cancer ruled by the moon, which means I should have been doing my heaviest stuff on Mondays, not Tuesdays, but Mars is not very happy in Cancer, which might be where all of the negative emotions came from. And honestly, hindsight is 20/20, but looking back, it makes sense because everybody used to hate Mondays, and it's typically because Monday is the start of the work week, nobody wants to go back to work. But I never had that case of the Mondays. I was like, why does everybody hate Mondays? Like, sure, we don't want to go back, but like, why do we hate Mondays? And the whole time it's because my little Cancer Mars was sitting there like, girl, fuck a Tuesday. This shit is ghetto. So I avoided Mondays, thinking that I needed to focus on emotional nurturing and not push myself too much, and that I didn't have enough capacity for productivity. But because I'm a Cancer Mars, maybe working is my emotional nurturing. So this is why it's so important to look at your whole chart, not just bits and pieces of it. So if you're new to working with your birth chart and your body graph, which are the respective charts for astrology and human design, remember to personalize everything you see to you. Look at everything that's there, look at your placements, look at your aspects, look at your defined and undefined centers, the gates you have. Look at everything as it relates to you, because this is about you and this is for you, so you need to make sure that somebody's generalized advice is actually going to be accurate for you. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to check out my Substack if you want to see more of my thoughts and my ramblings in written format. And after roughly about a 6-month break, I have decided that I will be making a comeback to Instagram. I will not be going back to TikTok because I have always had more success on Instagram rather than TikTok in terms of views and engagement and stuff like that. There's still some things that I need to set up within the account to protect myself and my mental and emotional health and my boundaries more, and I want to upload a decent amount of content to my Instagram so that you guys have multiple things to interact with and engage with before I finally open it. But keep an eye out for that because that is coming very, very soon, and when it's ready, I will be letting you guys know over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think you're supposed to say that when you're a YouTuber, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all.